Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Book summary by Paul Miners. 1. Introduction. Who is this book for? Don't let the title put you off. This book isn't just for people who are power hungry. Many of Robert Greene's 48 laws are applicable in many different areas of life, and there's something in here for everyone. The 48 Laws of Power examines 48 key steps to understanding how to use and enforce your power. These fundamental laws are a combination of actions, thoughts, and tactics that you can employ in order to play the power game. Greene understands and clearly outlines how power can be effective in furthering your business potential. About the author. American author Robert Greene is the author of 5 international bestsellers. The 48 Laws of Power was his first book and was a pivotal moment for his writing career. Greene has faced some controversy due to the nature of his books. Some perceive them as problematic and manipulative. But Greene stands by his ideas and has continued to hold a strong following of fans in the business sector. Fellow author Ryan Holiday creates a lot of his work and success to Greene's writing. He enjoys swimming and biking and lives with his girlfriend in Los Angeles. In this summary will briefly discuss each of Greene's 48 laws, ranging from concealing your intentions, asking for help, crushing enemies, and mastering the art of timing. There really is something in here for everyone. This summary will be a little bit different as we have 48 laws to get through. Each description will be short and sweet but will deliver the overall message. 2. Book summary. In the world today, however, it is dangerous to seem too power-hungry, to be overt with your power moves. We have to seem fair and decent. So we need to be subtle, congenial yet cunning, democratic yet devious. Learning the game of power requires a certain way of looking at the world, a shifting of perspective. 3. Law 1. Never outshine the master. Greene's first law emphasizes the importance of ensuring that anyone above you in the hierarchy, whether it be in business, work or an organization, should always be made to feel like they are the superior. It's important to remember that you are below them, and remind them of that. It's easy to want to show off your talents and skills, but don't go too far and make your superior feel insecure or inadequate. Greene believes that by making your superior feel like they are even better than they are and better than you, will help you on your road to power. If you make them doubt their role and power, this will only discredit you and set you back. 4. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies. Greene warns of putting too much trust in your friends, especially your close friends. He explains that your friends are easily subjected to envy, and are much more likely to betray you when presented with an opportunity. Greene believes that your former enemies can come in as more useful than your friends. This is because someone who was an enemy has a lot more to prove. You'll often find they work harder to earn your trust and respect, and for this reason, they make better colleagues and employees. Greene believes that you should fear your friends more than your enemies. And if you don't think you have any enemies, you should go out and look for them. 5. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. The third law stresses that you should never let people know your intentions. Obviously, your actions are prompted by your intentions, but never let them be known. Keeping people in the dark will mean that they are unable to prepare themselves and will be unprepared when it's time for them to react or respond. Greene goes as far as to recommend giving them false information, suggest that you are heading off in a different direction so that they get caught up in that. And by the time your intentions are revealed, it will be too late for them to do anything about it. Part 1. Use decoyed objects, a desire and red herrings to throw people off the scent. Part 2. Use smoke screens to disguise your actions. 6. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. This goes hand in hand with the previous law, never ever say more than necessary, try and say as little as possible. Greene believes that by saying too much, you open yourself up for criticism and interrogation. You're also likely to say something you regret. Greene explains that powerful people say less, they often keep things vague and open-ended. This can be both intimidating and impressive. 7. Law 5. So much depends on reputation, guard it with your life. We all know that reputation has the ability to make or break a man. Greene emphasizes that reputation is absolutely fundamental to your power. If your reputation is strong, you will have influential power and the ability to intimidate. However, if your reputation is compromised, you become vulnerable and open yourself up to attack. Greene stresses the importance of making sure your reputation is resilient and untouchable. If you see a potential problem arising, address it before it can affect you. And in order to maintain the best reputation, Greene encourages you to learn your enemy's weaknesses and do damage to their own reputations. 8. Law 6. Court attention at all cost. As important as your reputation is, it's important to consider your appearance, how other people perceive and judge you. Greene explains that you do not simply want to blend in or get lost amongst everyone else. It's in your best interest to stand out, be known and gain all the attention you can. If this means you have to act big and colorful, then do it, or add an element of mystery to entice more wanted attention. Part 1. Surround your name with the sensational and scandalous. Draw attention to yourself. Part 2. Create an air of mystery. Do not show all of your cards. Quote. 9. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. The 7th law is all about delegation. Other people have plenty to offer in terms of knowledge. The 7th law is all about delegation. Other people have plenty to offer in terms of knowledge, wisdom, talent, and skills. Greene encourages you to take full advantage of other people and what they can offer. He explains that you shouldn't be doing tasks that someone else could do. By delegating work, you'll save time and become more efficient. But don't forget, it's important that you take the credit. Let it be known that you are behind all of the hard work. 10. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Greene explains that you need to take control and make other people act. You need to act as the puppet master. Don't let this break down and have to reach out to others. Encourage them to come with you. Greene suggests using lures and baits if necessary, then once they've shown interest, you can use your influence and power to take control of the situation. He believes that you always need to be the one holding the cards. 11. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Any momentary triumph you think you have gained through argument is really a Pyrrhic victory. The resentment and ill will you stir up is stronger and lasts longer than any momentary change of opinion. Greene believes that you should be using your actions, not your words, to convince others and get them on your side. Arguments are not a valid way to use your power. Do not stoop to their level. You should be able to portray your influence and power through actions and demonstrations alone. 12. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Greene emphasizes the importance of surrounding yourself with others who are also happy and fortunate. By doing this, you'll cultivate your own happiness and success. If you find yourself surrounded by miserable people or people who are prone to disaster and affected by emotions, you'll likely take on their own misery. It's too easy to be drawn into other people's problems, so it's best to avoid them altogether. 13. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. The 11th law is about establishing relationships with other people who depend on you. Greene explains that always being needed and wanted is the way to actually maintain your power and independence. If other people are too independent and don't need your input, then they will gain too much power. With colleagues and employees, ensure that you never teach them everything or give them the authority to do everything. They have to need you for something. 14. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. One sincere and honest move will cover over dozens of dishonest ones. Open-hearted gestures of honesty and generosity bring down the guard of even the most suspicious people. Greene's point here is that you can be dishonest countless times, but being honest and open just once will cover any tracks, and give credibility to all the times you were actually dishonest. If you can be selective and time your honesty well, people will believe you are truly trustworthy, opening themselves up to the opportunity for you to manipulate them. 15. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. It's inevitable that at some point, you'll need to ask for help. And when you do, Greene encourages you not to give in the temptation to use your own assistance or good deeds in the past as a way to ask for help. Instead, offer a situation in which the other person will also realize a benefit. If someone can see that there is something in it for them, they are much more likely to agree. Even if there's no obvious benefit for them, try and spin your request in a way that they can see some gains. 16. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Greene emphasizes the importance of understanding your rivals. You need to know their strengths, weaknesses and what makes them tick. The best way to do this is to essentially pose as a spy. Meanwhile, you are being a spy. Learn how to get information out of people, probe them on the right topics and learn how to ask the right questions. You don't want to be too direct, you don't want them to figure out what you're doing. So aim to be subtle and indirect. Greene believes that any social encounter should be used as an opportunity for spying. 17. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. This law is pretty straightforward. Greene encourages you to ensure that your enemy is completely annihilated. You need to ensure that they are totally crushed, otherwise, they'll quickly bounce back and seek revenge. You need to avoid the risk of rebuttal. Once you've begun your path to annihilation, don't stop, don't give them the chance to fight back. 18. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. There's a lot to be said for creating an element of mystery, as Greene has mentioned in previous laws, and the same goes for your presence. You want to avoid being seen and heard too often, it only makes you seem common and more approachable. Withdraw socially and you'll notice that people are curious, they'll talk and wonder what you are up to. 19. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror, cultivate an air of unpredictability. Humans are creatures of habit with an insatiable need to see familiarity in other people's actions. Your predictability gives them a sense of control. Turn the tables, be deliberately unpredictable. Greene explains that as humans we expect the expected. And the reason we do is that we like to be able to predict what's going to happen. If you can act in a way that seems inconsistent and leaves people unsure of your intentions, they will be left in wonder. Not knowing what your purpose and plans are will leave people feeling unsettled and likely intimidated by you. 20. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself, isolation is dangerous. Greene explains that it's tempting to want to build a fortress around yourself, create your own safe zone. But in doing so, you isolate yourself, and Greene explains that isolation is actually dangerous. It means that the information you may require is limited and not as easy to access. It also draws attention to you, often promoting others to attack. You seem like an easy target, all alone and protected. Greene explains that a better strategy is to surround yourself with allies and people, this way the crown can work as your shield. There's plenty of people between you and your enemy. 21. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with, do not offend the wrong person. As we've mentioned before, it's so important to understand the people you associate with, allies or enemies. This knowledge will give you power. As Greene points out, everyone is different and you cannot use the same strategies on everyone, there is no one-size-fits-all approach. Greene warns against certain types of people, those who, if deceived, will seek revenge and continue to do so until they are satisfied. These are not the people you should seek to offend or deceive. Ensure that you know exactly who you are dealing with before you take action. 22. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. Greene explains that your own independence should be considered a strength, not a weakness. Do not fall into the common trap of committing to someone or to a certain side. Always remain strong to yourself and your own goals. Being independent will put you in a position of power, people will come after you, wanting to enlist you, and they will likely argue over you. This establishes you as the one with all the power. Part 1. Do not commit to anyone, but be courted by all. Part 2. Do not commit to anyone, stay above the fray. 23. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your mark. It goes without saying that we all want to feel intelligent. There's nothing worse than feeling like you've done or said something stupid. Greene encourages you to use this need to be smart to your advantages. Consider your enemies and victims, and make sure they feel like they are smart, smarter than you even. And if you can establish this false sense of confidence within themselves, they will never suspect you. 24. Or 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. If you are the weaker side, the temptation is there to continue fighting, even if it's just to heal your ego. However, Greene recommends surrendering in these situations. By surrendering, you warrant yourself the time to recover. And in this time, hopefully, your opponent's power will cease. They will be irritated at the time passing. Rather than letting them overcome and defeat you, be the bigger person and step aside